BC. So this is an artist appreciation. I haven't really done an artist appreciation in a little while, specifically. This is one of the first ones I wanted to do. I've been thinking about doing this video since I started this channel. And the latest release, what is the second to last and final release from this band due to the singer's passing in 2011, just came out. And boy, is it good. This is one of the most, I think, essential and best archival releases of anything. And it is Broadcast Spell Blanket. Collected demos from 2006-2009. Completely unheard music. This stuff is not demos for songs that were released. Their real final official studio record came out in 2006. So this is all stuff that the singer Trish Keenan, who tragically passed away in 2011 after contracting H1N1 flu, and that she got pneumonia and it killed her. Unbelievable. Yeah, talented vocalist and songwriter, arranger, along with James Cargill, were really what Broadcast was. It was the two of them. And this, I'm going to start with this because just came out on Warp Records, who's been basically their label for most of their career. As I said, completely unheard music. These are not just demos. Some of them feel like demos, but they feel very much like completed thoughts. And they take on extra meaning just because she's no longer with us, and it feels like these are transmissions from heaven or hell or wherever the hell she is, from another place. It feels like these are recordings from the dead, and all the lyrics are here, and this has got a little bit of everything, like vocal experiments, krautrock, experimental, collages. It pretty much gives you all of what Trish Keenan did with James Cargill, sort of in micro form or condensed form or in nation form. You know, these hopefully would have been their demos. Technically, these would have hopefully been on whatever the last Broadcast record would be, but we didn't get that. But this feels like a completed thought in a lot of ways. It does feel like her last record, and I think we should be treating it like it's the final Broadcast studio record, even though it's called Collected Demos. It's just absolutely magical. I hope I've been putting in, as you've been watching this, and I'll put more clips in songs that are from this collection specifically. I really want to highlight this and highly encourage you to get this. Now, there will be one more release in the fall, Collected Demos from 2000 to 2006. For some reason, they started with this first, I think because these are songs that never came out. This was supposed to be, or these songs would have been, whatever the final Broadcast record would be. What's going to come out later are demos, I believe, from things that were released on either Haha Sound or Tender Buttons, from what I understand. Although I'm sure it'll be different versions and there'll be some new stuff too, but this is technically the last Broadcast record. And a band out of Birmingham sort of started in the getting Stereolab comparisons, and I guess James and Trish met at like some kind of like DJ night or something in Birmingham. And this band, you know, they started on Warp Duophonic discs and this label. But again, if you know this band and you have the records and are a fan, you absolutely must get this. And I even think you should get this even if you don't know this band. It's beautiful. Trish Keenan, what a singer, what a performer, what a spirit. You know, she was just incredible. But this one was on Duophonic, Stereolab's label. This is the very first EP, original pressing, one only pressing of this. It's 4 tracks. it would be compiled with the two other 7-inch singles on a record I'm going to show in a second. But this has got the Book Lovers, and it's technically called Book Lovers, from 1996 on Duophonic, the Super 45, Stereolab Super 45. The early stuff is more repetitive, a little more sort of motoric flavored. They would get into the more vintage psychedelia, sort of following in the footsteps of the United States of America. And we're listening to Broadcast right now, by the way. I'll explain what this is in a second. But I wanted to show this, the very first EP, 4-track EP from 96, UK. It would get compiled and later released on this record. This is the first record, well, this is the first compilation of that, plus the 2 singles. This is Work and Non-Work. I ran into this just after finding out about the band in the year 2000 with the next record I'm going to show. I found out about them through that record. But this I saw at Kim's Music in Mondo Kim's famous record store in Manhattan, a store I would later work at a different location. But this is Work and Non-Work, released on Drag City, actually, the only release on Drag City. And it, as I said, compiled the Book Lovers EP with the Accidentals EP single and one other single. So right away, early on, Drag City, I think, was issuing these on vinyl for the U.S. market because, it was the 90s. And this is what came out then. This did get reissued. This is still pretty valuable, though, as are all the original Broadcast original pressings. But this, the original Drag City pressing is quite valuable, although I think Warp released it, reissued it. And it does feature, the band sort of in that sort of playful early mode. What else can I tell you about these records? I mean, if you don't know them, you definitely need to dial in and check them out. They didn't tour a ton. I did see them in 2009 or 10. Maybe it was 8. It was during the Tender Buttons tour, and it was absolutely awesome at Webster Hall in Manhattan. This next record is the reissue. Warp did reissue everything, a while ago now, 8 years ago. This is the record that introduced me to the band, The Noise Made by People, from 2000 on Warp. I was a music director up at SUNY Oswego College, and the last 2 years I worked at the radio. I was a DJ, 2 or 3 years I was a DJ, and then the last year I was the music director. So I was getting all the promo CDs, and deciding what songs would be in rotation, deciding what albums would be in rotation. And this one I loved from the get-go. The track "Come On, Let's Go," I think you can see them performing that, and there's videos of that. But this whole thing, this one is just more subdued and sort of mysterious, and it feels very mysterious is the word that comes to mind. Each of their 3 proper studio records has a different feel. And not a double album. And they would release a few different EPs around this record, which are compiled on another release I will show. But this is when it was really more of a band, and so this is a full band on this record. But The Noise Made by People from 2000.
You're gonna need some help, and you won't fail with me around. Come on, let's go. I will tell you if you change. And who's been saying things it's hard to tell who is real in here. Come on, let's go. You know who to turn to now, everything's changed. Come on, let's go. Stop looking for answers in everyone's face. Come on, let's go. What's the point in wasting time on people that you'll never know? Come on, let's go.
I don't have all of the EPs. A lot of them were CDs and mini CDs. I'll explain what we're listening to. Here's the follow-up record. This is the reissue on the first Warp reissue, Haha Sound. This might be my favorite. This is them at their most psychedelic and psychedelic rock, really influenced by the United States of America. Of course, that was from 1968. And and the BBC Radiophonic Workshop is another mega influence on this band. Got some absolutely beautiful songs like Before We Begin, The Little Bell, Ominous Cloud, and The Pendulum, which is like a straight up psychedelic, heavy duty psychedelic track. 2003 on Warp. Yeah, this is the reissue, as I said. I don't know if it's worth seeking out the original pressings when these nice reissues exist. I would like to have them, but I don't expect it to be much of a difference, I don't believe. But you never know. I don't know. If anyone has them, let me know. I do have a few other originals.
Here again, at the end, before the beginning, so the salt will spill again, throw it over your shoulder. Oh, it's in tomorrow, fortune or sorrow, wait, you've been waiting. I don't mean to show that I know how this goes before we begin again.
The next record really was a change. This is when it was this is officially their final studio record in a way. This is Tender Buttons, and it's definitely a more Spartan, stripped down, more of like a drum machine heavy record, because the last one, Haha Sound, had a live drummer on it. This one does not. And I believe it's all Trish and James, the main two writers. And this is when I saw this band. This is from 2005 on Warp. As I said, a little more sort of sparse, Spartan, strident, but still got those beautiful vocals from Trish. I just love her vocals. It was deeper, but very psychedelic and cosmic. Yeah, it's only 7 tracks. No, that's not right. Yeah, right. There's more tracks. I have all these on CD too. I was such a fan.
Under the white chalk drawn on the blackboard, under the X-ray, I'm just a vertebrae. Do that to me, do that to my anatomy, do that to me, do that to my anatomy.
The next record, which would prove to be the last one that would come out while she was still alive, is a split with the Ghostbox founder. What's his name? But the founder of Ghostbox Record has this group called the Focus Group, and this is a collaborative effort between the two of them. This one is definitely their most experimental. This is from 2009. This is an original pressing. I don't know if this original pressing really goes for much, but there's a reissue of this too. I bought this when it came out. The other ones I was buying on CDs at the time, so that's why I don't have originals of those. 2009, very much collage-y, cut and paste feel, kind of like a Faust tapes, you might say. But this is with the Ghostbox founder, the Focus Group. I don't know his name in front of me, but you can figure it out, right? I gotta listen to this one again. But the Focus Group investigate witch cults of the radio age. So that came out then, and definitely I need to spin this one again. It has that feeling of like the Faust tapes, like all these different sounds running into each other.
Circles vanish, all circles vanish.
This was released posthumously, but I think it's officially the last thing she was officially working on as a release. The soundtrack to the Barbarian Sound Studio, an English film that I have not seen. This came out, I think, in 2012, the year after she died. And I do need more time with this. This definitely feels more like a soundtrack, although it does have some of her vocals. It does feel like a broadcast record, but it's a lot of small. I mean, this feels like a library record, really, more than anything. There's like 30-something songs or tracks. Filmed by Peter Strickland, Barbarian Sound Studio. This is when that reissue campaign happened following her death, and the original pressings were in such high demand. They reissued the records like I showed, but then they also did this. This is the first release of this as a collection of EPs, a different collection of EPs. This compiles stuff that was originally on mini CD. Actually, no, that's not true. That's what we're listening to. But this compiles the extended play EPs that were released around the first album. The Come On Let's Go 7-inch, Warp compilations, All Tomorrow's Party compilations, another single called Echo's Answer. So this compiles all the rest of the EPs. It's called Future Crayon, and this is absolutely a must if you like this band as well. This is a double. This came out, like I said, 2015 with all the other reissues. I'm definitely collecting this band. There's a few things I'm missing when it comes to originals, of course. And then a few years ago now, 2021 maybe, it was even 22, 3 releases, and we were listening to one of them. And this is a compilation of all these mini CDs that they were putting out on tour. They would put it, if you went to see this band on tour, and I do have tour CDs. I'm not showing the CDs. I could, but I'm just doing records today. But I have some of the mini tour CDs, but they were only CDs, and they were 3-inch CDs. Volume 1 and 2 was one record, 2 sides, and this really is like a library record, as you're hearing. From 2005 and 6, 2003 and 2005, original releases, 3-inch tour discs, Microtronics, Volume 1 and 2. That's what we've been listening to this whole time. This was part of that, like I said, the set of 3 reissues, or 3 archival releases from just a couple of years ago. Also a part of that. I'm really running through these records, but they all stand on their own, and this is not the same thing over and over. This band was incredibly diverse. This is all BBC sessions, the Maida Vale sessions from 2 different Maida Vale sessions, October '96 and August 2003. This is a double, so this is basically what the band was like live. So really cool to have this. John Peel, October '96. They're all recorded by John Peel. It's a double album, also on Warp. So you do have, it's really a lot of their songs from pre-Tender Buttons. This is mainly the first few albums, as well as some of the early tracks are on here too. The Maida Vale sessions, all BBC. And the last thing I'll show is one I definitely bought when I saw them at Webster Hall, The Mother is the Milky Way. A tour-only CD EP, and this is the first time on vinyl. That's what this is. Originally released as a tour-only CD in 2009, so I guess that must have been the year I saw them. And it's got a printed inner and everything. As you can see, I love this band. I should have probably pulled out my tour-only, or some of the other weird CDs, some of the ones I talked about here, but this has got some absolutely beautiful stuff on it. Some of it, 2022 is when this came out, as well as the last 2 I showed. That's when they did these. Some of it feels like toss-aways and demos, but it all works together cohesively. I just think from the sound that they were doing, like that BBC radiophonic sound and psychedelic and lounge and pop, it all works from what they were doing. So that's my broadcast collection. 13 years after Trish Keenan died. But it's all in honor of this new release, Spell Blanket. I highly encourage everyone to grab this. And you've been hearing this, everything I've put in this video when it comes to the song clips is from this, with the exception of what's been playing behind me, which is the Microtronics. But these collected demos are just, it's all so good. Again, it feels like these are, being sent from another galaxy, from Trish in the land far away. She's still making music for us. And so a must grab. Hopefully everyone can grab it. I don't know if it's going to go out of print or anything, but Spell Blanket 2006 2009, and the 2006 demo record will be out in October, so I'll be definitely getting that and talking about that. Anyway, Trish Keenan, there is a record called Children of Alice, which I'll quickly show, which came out posthumously. And again, I should probably check it out, listen to it again, but this record came out, this is like one of the first thing that James Cargill, who was her partner in the band, made sort of on his own with other people too, but written, recorded, and produced by James Cargill, Julian House, that's the Ghostbox founder, and Raj Stevens. And Children of Alice is a reference to Trish Keenan, was very much influenced by Alice in Wonderland, so he called this one's definitely shiny. I think this thing is like cheap. You can get this for like nothing. I gotta listen to it again, but it's certainly, if you like Broadcast, there's a lot to like here too. So I think that's all the Broadcast related stuff I have. There could be something else. It's probably James Cargill related things, but this is really about Trish. She was great to see live too. It was a great performer. She really brought it live. Apparently she had a lot of stage fright, but you couldn't have sensed it that night. I tried finding clips of her from that show, but couldn't. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, a band to scoop up these records now while you can, I think. So that's it. Broadcast. See.
Hip on to hip on, anti-gay, anti-dead, home again. Love of the hip hop, of the nose, of the love, lemonade. All the pictures look so plain, look so plain. Again, reservoir of day, I'm finally going.